At midnight on the 27th of October, the Keneally government terminated its solar electricity payback scheme. It had lasted just 12 months. We were told that 60 cents per kilowatt hour paid to businesses and households who invested in electricity generating solar panels on their roofs was way too generous. A new scheme of gross feed-in tariffs has now started, paying just 20 cents per kilowatt hour. In one decision, New South Wales went from offering the most generous solar payment system in the nation to the least generous. The government has said the costs, which are passed on to all electricity consumers, could not be justified. The consequences? The solar panel installation industry says it's been stopped in its tracks and confronts substantial job losses. Its future now depends on what happens at the state election next March. How so? $45,000 worth of Australian-manufactured photovoltaic solar panels on this Rydalmere factory roof just beat the October the 27th cut-off point. Stan Baker, CEO of Electrodata Recorders Proprietary Limited, was one of 80,000 property owners who have signed up for the 60 cents per kilowatt-hour feed-in tariff. He was just in time, based on this sales pitch from Today's Solar principal, Tyrone Khan. We asked them to reenact it.
You're going to put in a $45,000 investment after rebate. That's what your system's going to cost you. So at the 60 cent gross feed-in tariff, you're going to get about $10,000 back a year. So if I'm dividing 45 by 10,000, it's going to take you about 4.5 years to pay it back.
Revenue of $10,000 a year, payback over 4.5 years on a system which is guaranteed to be operational for 25 years or more. A return on investment better than any bank or finance house currently offers. Too good to be true.
It's around about a 20% return on capital, which is certainly above what you can get at a bank at the moment, and certainly probably above what you can get on most shares in the stock exchange. So that was attractive.
The subject, as you've all seen today, a New South Wales solar bonus scheme. What led to this accelerated take-up?
The Keneally government said it had no alternative but to end the 60 cents per kilowatt-hour gross feed-in tariff. It was financially unsustainable at a time when electricity consumers are already burdened by the biggest power price rises ever approved by the state regulator. With pensioners and low-income earners now suffering, they could no longer be asked to subsidise the bonus scheme.
The impact was immediate. There was a last-minute rush on the 27th of October as people got their last-minute orders in, and after that, the 28th, the phone stopped dead. So we're told that sales inquiries have dropped 80, 90, even 95% since that decision was made.
In New South Wales, very much the 27th was a big boom day, and then suddenly we go to things slowed down, calls stop coming, but we still keep going.
There is a very substantial backlog in that industry. There are some installers that have got literally a 12-month waiting list as we speak to get around to installing panels. I think there's an argument that the demand is far greater than the capacity of the installation industry to meet. So it's a little unfair to say that all of a sudden we've knocked the stuffing out of the industry.
The Minister for Energy, Paul Lynch, says the government remains committed to empowering individuals and households to join the photovoltaic rooftop revolution.
The reality is that when we instituted the 60 cents tariff, panels cost a particular amount. That cost has more than halved now, so that instead of the 60 cents being an incentive for people to be involved in solar energy, it actually became a windfall gain for them.
We asked the solar industry exactly what payback tariff would deliver a sustainable industry going forward.
We need a feed-in tariff in line with the rest of the country, at least 40 to 45 cents. That would give us certainty. We need that tariff to be reviewed annually, and for those annual reviews to be well telegraphed ahead of time so that people actually knew what the changes would be before they happen.
Do the maths for us. Why do you assert, Minister, that 20 cents per kilowatt hour is sustainable, acknowledging as you have that the cost of the panels has come down because of the worldwide momentum to solar panels?
Well, that's really the core of the maths. The expenditure you have to make to install these things is the cost of the installation, but the vast majority of the cost is the capital cost of the panels. So if the capital cost of the panels is more than halved, you've clearly got far less need for the 60-cent tariff, and it makes a whole lot more sense to have the smaller tariff. It's also worth making the point that in addition to the tariff or the bonus that we pay, there are 5 retailers that are paying an extra bonus of up to 6 to 8 cents per kilowatt hour. So in effect, you can actually get on our scheme up to 28 cents a kilowatt hour.
We were very surprised when the government adopted the 60-cent gross feed-in tariff, because the government had in fact been pilloring us for most of the previous 6 months for our policy, which was more in the vicinity of 40 cents. And so it was really a stunning backflip by the government.
With New South Wales going from the most generous to the least generous scheme in one day, exactly what will the state opposition, which originally advocated gross feed-in tariffs, offer businesses and households if, as expected, Catherine Cusack becomes the Minister for Climate Change and Environmental Sustainability at the election next March?
We are definitely committed to reviewing gross feed-in tariff rate in order to make it attractive to consumers but affordable to electricity users. We understand that consumers don't want to be investing in renewable energy if they see it as a big risk, and so we need to look at more certainty in the payback periods for their investment, and we also need to look, I think, at more simplicity in the way all these different Commonwealth and state schemes are being presented. I see that as a real problem for consumers.
Of course, gross feed-in tariffs are just one aspect of the debate about the future of energy in Australia. While there is still no price on carbon, investment certainty, it seems, will remain unattainable.